John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie were titans of industry. They made their money through the markets, and when they invented American philanthropy, they really were saying, let's put this money towards social purpose. And I think both of them would have been extraordinarily proud at how now the integration of business and markets with what they saw as a separate philanthropic activity is really evolving, and it's so important to say that. And shared value is really part of an overall ecosystem where the recognition is that there doesn't have to be a bright line anymore between social impact and financial impact. And so we've seen a tremendous transformation, and I think that there are many causes. One is that we see many investors recognizing that double-digit financial outcomes are less likely since 2008. And once they start thinking that maybe single-digit returns are great, they felt more enabled to think about social and environmental impact as part of their outcome structure. We are seeing many investors who really feel that they want their investments in companies and in funds that really are aimed at social progress. And so there's been a phenomenal evolution from the investment community from a really do no harm model with their investments to really expecting social and environmental good. And I think that's a big piece of it. And then the third change in the ecosystem, of course, is these extraordinary companies that are part of an ecosystem that range from small social entrepreneurs that really feel their whole business model is around a social outcome, to the extraordinary large multinational companies like Nestle and BD, who really understand the value proposition that comes in this shared value mechanism. We have spent tens of billions of dollars over 100 years in our philanthropic investments. And we and all of the other philanthropies in our space around the world, I think, have come to recognize now in the 21st century, there just isn't enough philanthropic money to solve all the world's problems. And even when you add the development finance institutions and the bilateral aid, there still isn't enough money. And so we were motivated to ask ourselves, how do we catalyze the private sector? Because that is where the rest of the money is. And so, you know, it is the old case of go where the money is. And as we in philanthropy began to engage with the private sector, first as partners in many of these health or agricultural initiatives, we recognized that the private sector were amazing partners, had very similar aspirations and goals and value systems as we did, but we're financial partners, not strategic partners, because we all have our own strategy. But we can go out into the private sector and find extraordinary strategic partners. And so that has really led, I think, to a sea change in the way philanthropy seeks to work with the private sector, seeks to encourage the NGO community. We now do a real alliance and partnership among the private sector, the NGO community, who is often, but not always, the deliverer, and the philanthropy in this case. As we talk about shared value, we all are seeing our expectations for the role of government changing. And so one of the things that I think we all have done, and here our interests are perfectly aligned, is really catalyze government to create the kind of enabling environment that allows all of this to happen, and to happen in the way that is most effective and most compelling for the stakeholders that we are really also committed to. So a sea change. Now, we have moved, we at Rockefeller, to really trying to help catalyze the field of impact investing, because we want private investors, banks, family wealth funds, ultimately pension funds, once this proof of concept gets enough traction, to really be able to invest in this space. And that is going to open for the private sector the opportunity and the obligation, I think, to perform in these ways, to look for products and processes that really do create shared value, because you will get the investor community, rather than now still either on the sideline or just funding the small social entrepreneurs, to really be looking to and at the larger companies to participate and really create shared value within their corporations in a very significant and important way. And I am seeing, and we are funding in order to promote the beginning of that groundswell. So kudos to FSG for now doing training that will put out there all over the world the consultants and the people who will enable the companies to develop this kind of expertise, because the investment community, with our push, I think will be demanding it in a few years.